Good evening, Professor Storesletten. The neoliberalist theory predicts that high domestic investment will coincide with high growth, but in China this is not the case. How would you explain the link between China's high productivity growth and high foreign reserve accumulation?
It's because state-owned firms are inefficient and private firms are out-competing them. State-owned firms have an easy time borrowing. Private firms have a difficult time borrowing. So, as the private firms outcompete the state-owned firms, there are no state-owned firms left to borrow any longer. So, in the beginning, when there are no private firms, banks have an easy time finding borrowers. As the state-owned firms are outcompeted, banks become awash in cash. They don't find places to lend to in China. Their only option is to buy foreign bonds. So therefore, you see, as the private firms are growing, productivity is going up because private firms are much more productive than state-owned firms. At the same time, we see banks investing abroad, investing in foreign bonds. So that explains the two things going together.
How does your growth theory account for rising inequality in China?
It's because entrepreneurs are the ones running the private firms, owning the private firms. They have high profits. They can hire cheap workers, and they have access to this. They have these good investment opportunities. They're making a lot of money. So their profits are rising very fast. They are the ones getting rich. Why don't the workers get rich? Well, it's because workers keep coming from the rural areas. They keep coming from failed state-owned firms. So there's this masses of workers competing for jobs with private firms. That means that the wages are just not rising as fast as productivity.
And finally, what are the implications of your growth theory for the future of China?
We've been going through a period when the private firms are growing, state-owned firms are shrinking. During this phase, wages are not growing so fast, because instead of bidding up wages, the private firms can just steal workers from the state-owned firms. That's the situation we're in now. Eventually, all the workers are going to be with private firms. Then the private firms have to start competing for the workers, and we'll see wages going up. So we'll see an accelerated wage growth. In fact, we're seeing a bit of that now. After the financial crisis, banks have been forced by the government to lend a lot more. That had given the state-owned firms a lot more cash on their hands, and they have been bidding up wages, and that has halted temporarily the transition from state-owned to private firms.